This is the best year to retire, and I'm going to share why, but I also want to share a few barriers that cause people to second guess if they're making the right decision. So in this video, we'll look at three big things that'll tell you that you're ready to do it this year, to retire now, and then also three things that are stopping people that it's actually false. Now, I'm Dave Zoller, and my team and I, we've been helping people retire at Streamline Financial for the last 16 years. For number one, it's a new way to view retirement that I'd be surprised if you've heard before. And then I'll share the biggest barrier, which is financial related. And then what you can do now to really break through that barrier so that you can feel a level 10 out of 10 confidence with your retirement plan. So let's get to the first reason to retire this year. And I believe that this is the start of the retirement renaissance. Now, let me explain what that means. Go back in time to the good old days when you were back in school. You might remember that Renaissance, it literally means rebirth. And after the Dark Ages, there was this explosion of art and science and human potential. You know, people like Da Vinci, they weren't just artists, they were inventors and they were scientists and they were dreamers. And they were redefining what was possible. And this was able to happen because for the first time, there were three critical things that lined up. One was the resources to pursue those interests. Two was the freedom to think differently. And then three, they had the time to explore and to create. Now, that might sound a little bit similar to where you might be, right? Think about it. We've accumulated resources through decades of work. We've got this technology and these tools that our parents probably never dreamed of. And for the first time, we can choose how to use our time and our attention to the way that fits us best. But here's what makes this so special. We're seeing this perfect storm of the pandemic showed us a new way of living and working. Technology makes learning and makes connecting easier than ever. And this is the first generation where we've got the health and the wealth to really truly reinvent retirement. So rather than think about it as retirement, maybe let's think about it as renaissance, right? This is our chance to rediscover who you are when you're not defined by your job title, to really use your wisdom and your experience in ways that you never thought. Just like the original Renaissance, it wasn't about going backwards. It was about moving forward in entirely new ways, right? Your retirement renaissance isn't about ending your work life. It's about beginning something entirely new, right? We don't want to be just running away from something. We want to have something that we're really running towards. Click the like button if you're ready to start your retirement renaissance. But to start the renaissance, we need something that's becoming more and more precious every single day. It's time and health. I've got a lot more to say on that, but I know what's on your mind right now. It's probably the money part of the equation, right? How can I be sure that I've got enough? So let's get into what really is that first big barrier to people retiring. And it's actually point two on why this is the year to retire. And I'll explain in a better way and explain why you're in a better position than you might think. And then the tactical thing to do to really improve your plan this year. The concept is called the spending paradox, meaning it's common for someone to delay their retirement date because they're hesitant to start spending what they've saved over the last 30 years. And here's the paradox part. The data actually shows 2/3 of retirees, so 67% or so, that following that simple 4% rule that we hear about, they actually end up with double their starting principal. Now that's good to know. You might be thinking, well, I'm different. My expenses are going to be a little bit higher. They're not 4%, or maybe I don't like the 4% rule. If that's you, here's a way to plan your retirement. And this is how we often do it at Streamline Financial for our clients. And it's different than the traditional method of planning retirement. The traditional way would say, take 4%, take that withdrawal rate, and then increase it by 3% per year for inflation. Again, that's a good place to start if you're just starting out to see where you stand. But there's another level to increase your confidence of your retirement plan. And that's by realizing that retirement often follows more of a smile pattern than a straight line. It kind of lines up with at the beginning of retirement, this is sometimes called the go-go years, when we've got the time and the health to go ahead and do the travel and do all the things we want to do. And then we get into maybe the slow go years, sometime around here where it's maybe we're more content staying close to home and expenses often go down during that period of time. And then we get into the no-go years where that's where we sometimes see medical expenses increase. So now how can you apply this to your plan? Well, here's one way to think about it. When you're planning your expenses, start with the essentials, right? These are the absolute needs, the things like housing, food, transport, insurance. And those are the things that will increase each year because of inflation. And you can work that into the plan. And it would look something like this. This is just a standard plan with expenses going up over time and hopefully assets as well. And then we'll want to add in the wants. The wants are something different, right? They may not last every single year from now until the end of your life. There may be a period of time where you're going to travel a little bit more than normal, but it might only last 5 to 10 years during this period of time. Or maybe you've got weddings to pay for, or maybe there's other expenses out there that are going to be one-time expenses or a few years in a row. And those are the things we want to add separately than the needs. This we'll often call the what if scenarios, right? Those one-time expenses.